Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Diaspora panel. This is the voice of the diaspora, and I am with Mr. Olalawal from Calgary in Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are welcome to today's meeting.
Thank you for having me, and good day to our viewers.
I'm also with my very good friend, Mr. Olaitan Adedigba. Mr. Adedigba, you're also welcome to today's meeting.
It's my pleasure being here this afternoon.
Right. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you to all our viewers, all our new viewers, all those who joined, subscribe to our channel in the last 1 week. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And please, if you are one of those viewers who have not yet subscribed, please subscribe now. It's free of charge, and it means that anytime we put up a new video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. So today we want to discuss something that has happened in the last 1 week. So, in the last 1 week or thereabout, we have seen the interesting tragicomedy, emanating from our Senate. Distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti became offended because her seat was changed without notification. She became very, very angry, very unruly, and she did not yield to the persuasions of her colleagues. She was shouting on top of her voice in the Senate. Now, Chukwa, I'm going to come to you first because this is an issue that needs, to be talked about. So, Senator Natasha came to the chambers and found out that our seat has been moved from a very visible position to an obscure position without any notification. There was no email, there was no text, there was no phone call, there was no WhatsApp conversation, nothing. She just came, went to her seat, and found out that no, you can't sit there. Go to the back. And she was mad as hell. And she and our colleagues in the Senate are saying she doesn't have a right to complain. She doesn't have to ask. Is that the kind of society we should be in, Shuko?
Thank you very much for the question. And I think if the issue was only, related to changing of seats, I very much doubt that she would have been that angry. I think what really transpired shows that there seems to be some things happening prior to her seat being changed. And that seemed to be, the final straw for her that broke the camel's back. And if you look at the reaction, people may see it as not being commensurate with, her seat just being changed. I think the fact that, she felt like that and she reacted the way she reacted does substantiate the fact that there is a lot more happening. Now, what that thing is, we do not know, but it definitely suggests that there is a lot happening that, culminated likely in her seat being changed. I mean, even if the seat is being changed from a very visible position to maybe a less visible position, not like from a very visible to a far, far remote location. So I think that's one thing. I think on the other side, issues like this should be an opportunity for the Senate also to see how they can improve their own procedures. I think it is reasonable that if a senator's seat is going to be reassigned, I think common courtesy would require that they at least be notified. Now, whether that was done in this case or it wasn't, it doesn't look like it was, because she only found that when she came into the chamber, only to be seated is when she found out that her seat was being reallocated. Other senators have said, that happens, quite often, and the Senate president does reserve the right, to change senator seats. I don't think it is a bad thing, also for the Senate president to notify members whose seats may have been changed of that change, so that when they come into the chamber, there are no surprises. So I think, to kind of summarize, I believe that it may look like a normal seat change, but her reaction does substantiate the fact that there are many more things that has been happening, and that for her seemed to be the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what she actually said. Because what she said, what I heard is that she has been bottling up a lot of persecution from the Senate president. She gave an example and she said there was this bill about the Ajaokuta Steel rolling mill, that she put up, and that the Senate president kind of pushed it down. She never allowed it to see the light of the day. And she said there's a lot of other things that have been going on. So until it now culminated in, seat being moved without notice, without. So, Lighter, it doesn't look like anybody is listening to what she has to say. Does it?
Yeah. I what I believe is going on is a common problem in Nigeria. Majority of these people, when people are they are at the end of affair, they tend to be kowtow to their dictates. They become an ass lickers, right? Worshiping them. Can you believe in the House? None of the senators repudiated all the actions taken by the Senator Akpabio. None of them sees anything bad in it. And moreover, for Akpabio to sit in the affair that concerns him, we are exposing ourselves to ridicule, and we want the whole world to respect us. I was looking at ABC station here. I look at Ajasera, they are relaying it. Nigeria Senate president, alleged to be victimizing a fellow senators, right? What image of ourselves are we portraying to the outside world? Right? None of the senators. And when they are calling the rule of the house, nobody mentioned it. They just continue. The rule of the house is she should sit down. She should. No, and Natasha is saying that it is those people who defected from maybe PDP to APC that they are always put there, and the mic is not working. Listen to our own sides of the coins. Side of the matter, but none of them they seem to be listening. Maybe because of the juicy position they want to creep by not standing up to him. I'm amazed that the likes of Adam Oshiomhole there, none of them can talk. And Oshiomhole have been championing the cause of the masses since 80s, while he was a Labour chairman. So these are the things we need to portray ourselves as being serious. Like you rightly said, if you want to change the position, cause it demand that, Natasha, your seat will be positioned. You should have prepared our mind. You prepare her, not that she will get there, that you discover that the clerk of the house will now say you cannot sit down there. You can't know it's wrong. It's morally wrong. We don't do things like that. Ordinarily, it will not have escalated to this position if it has been, a nip at the bud initially, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Lighton. So, well, anyway, Senator Natasha actually went on live TV, okay, and she told the world what actually happened. She said the Senate president has been harassing her sexually. According to her own account, the sexual harassment took place right in the home of the Senate president during Natasha's visit. Natasha went there with her husband, I think, for a function. And she said that, Akpabio was showing her the house, and, taking her from one room to the other. And he was suggesting was making suggestions like he wanted them to have an affair together. So now, Shukpo, assuming that conversation took place, assuming it actually happened. So if a man tells you, I want us to have an affair, and you said no, either orally or by your body language, you let him understand no, and the man kept away. Is that sexual harassment? What is sexual harassment, Shukpo?
All right, thank you so much. So this is always a very, very difficult and controversial conversation, but I will try to kind of frame it properly. Now, sexual harassment is any unwelcome sexual behavior, and it could be verbal, it could be non-verbal. I think the worst case of it is when it becomes physical. When it actually involves an attempt or even a successful attempt to either touch or any of those things. And what it does is it creates a hostile environment. It creates an intimidating environment, and quite honestly, an environment that is deeply offensive. And it occurs in many places. It occurs in workplaces, schools, public spaces, healthcare settings. People, sometimes go to see their physician, and they are touched in ways that are inappropriate as well. So this happens, in a lot of different settings. Now, there are many forms of sexual harassment. Verbal harassment is one, which could include things, for example, like sexual comments, jokes, or innuendos, asking inappropriate sexual questions, questions that are not, that there is no basis, to be asked in those types of settings. Or repeatedly asking for dates after being declined. It could also be non-verbal. It could be leering, staring, or making some form of suggestive gestures, or in the age of, social media, sending sexually explicit messages, texts, or images.
Sexting. They call it sexting. Yeah.
Exactly, sexting. Thank you very much. Now, the worst case scenario is when it becomes physical, when there is unwanted touching, hugging, or brushing against someone, cornering or blocking someone's way. All of these things. There is a worse version of it, which we'll call the quid pro quo, which now becomes offering professional or benefits in exchange for sexual favors. That actually creates a very unhealthy environment. And it's an allegation that has to be taken very, very seriously. Now, to kind of come back to this, why do people sometimes, go out to social media or go to the media generally? They do that when they believe that there are no opportunities for them within their existing setting to get a fair hearing. What I expect from the Senate is to actually, two things. If they believe, for example, that Senator Natasha Akpabio has violated Senate rules, there should be an ethics committee that should look into that. But on the same token, she has accused the Senate president of sexual harassment. There should equally be another ethics investigation into those allegations. The two should go on at the same time. At the worst, if if the Senate is really very serious about members playing by their rules. But what we've seen happen, actually, in my opinion, justifies why she gave the interviews that she gave. Because part of the reasons that some senators are saying, well, she went to the media, she should have tabled allegations. Well, we can see that the only ethics investigation that the ethics committee in the Senate took up is that of her not following the rules.
Yeah.
And this is, to investigate somebody who has come out to say she's been sexually harassed. What about the allegations against, the Senate president? So we can see that even the Senate, in its own reaction and response, has demonstrated that they are not giving a fair hearing, on what has happened. So I think it does substantiate the fact that there is a lot going on that they've decided not to look into. And that is a very sad day for that institution because it is not something that we should encourage in our society. And it is something that, quite honestly, in currently Nigeria,
especially at that level. Especially at that
exactly.
level. Yeah. Okay. Later, I'm going to bring you in now. The Senate president himself, it's not new to controversies around sexual harassment. In the year 2020, when he was the chairman for NDDC, that's the Niger Delta Development Commission, the managing director of that commission, Mrs. Nune, accused Senator Akpabio of sexually harassing her. And I think, she went on TV, Akpabio too went on TV, it was very messy. So are we seeing a kind of character fault in our Senate president? Is he one of those people who is anything in skirt? Is it the kind of person we have as Senate president? Is this a character
Like,
fault?
like I always say, anybody who are holding a particular post in trust must be trustworthy. Right? You cannot, somebody who has been accused, ordinarily, if it were in developed countries, Akpabio will not be the Senate president. Having been accused, right, by a lady having been slapped by the MD of that company then, of the NDDC, if you not have been, they will have done the background check, he will not be made the Senate president. I'm telling you. But be as it may, everybody there, they just kept quiet and they are looking. Okay, it's Akpabio. He wielded a lot of power there because of the juicy position. So, I mean, it might not consider me for it if I raise an eyebrow, if I do this, if I do that. So none of them want to speak out. And for God's sake, this is Nigeria saying at least we should have 30% of women, right, in the public office. I mean, 40% of women in the public office. And women is coming now to be the Senate president and having done a lot for his constituency. And people are venting their anger on her, right? Before she speak out, you should know that she has been drawn to the wall before she came to arise and berekete.
Yeah.
Because only that she doesn't have. I mean, up to now, I mean, we need to improve. Like she should have waited more and catch Senator Akpabio like this. Maybe where they wanted to have a fear. Maybe where they are. But all this one, I mean, to cap it off, look at what the Senate majority leader said. Majority leader called her that if Akpabio get down, you are getting down with her. I mean, with him. He's strong. Why are you threatening her? A lawyer. Okoyemi Bamidele is saying threatening her. A lawyer. They should. That's one of the proof, right? Because the call law will be there. I hope the lady. I mean, I expect her to have enough proof to drive home her point. That okay, she makes sexual advances to her, for so many times. So I mean, she should have facts. She should have her facts to buttress her point. Right. I wish she had. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, Shuko, I want you to, look at something here. So I listened to Senator Akpabio himself on TV. So he was trying to explain his own side of the story. And he said that when Senator Natasha was put in, he mentioned the name of the committee, which I believe is a juicy committee, said there was no problem. And then after that committee, she was also put in charge of another juicy committee. There was no problem. It was after she was now removed from that second committee and put in a diaspora committee, which I believe is not as juicy as those other two. And then there was a problem. So I'm looking at something here and something like look like a body language. So if Senator Natasha is a first timer in the Senate, okay, she's not a ranking senator. So if she's been given a seat that is very visible, as she's been given, a committee that is very juicy, so is Senator Akpabio dangling something in return for something that Natasha wasn't willing to give? And then after Natasha wasn't
Please,
giving out what was supposed to
she
be
will do
given,
it.
so he withdrew it. Is that what's going on here?
Oh boy. So this is very, very interesting. And these are the questions that will come up in the absence of the Senate performing their proper duty, which is to hold a proper ethics investigation into this issue and get to the bottom of it. I think it is reasonable. Now, when we say juicy committee, what we actually mean is that there are committees within the Senate where people that makes senators, very visible. It does help their political careers because, over time they will be seen, as leaders who can deal with, very important
Who has
issues,
capacity?
who have the capacity and the ability to govern. And some of them eventually, go back to their states to become governors, some become ministers, and those type of things. So serving in a good committee or juicy committee, so to speak, actually helps further their political careers. You are very, very right that Senator Natasha Akpabio was actually as a freshman in the Senate, giving
Freshwoman.
some very good Senate committees. Now, she was reassigned. Her seat was reassigned. You can ask questions. Why are all these things happening? Her narrative is that these things are happening because I refused the Senate president's sexual favors. The Senate president has not come forward with a very credible response or denial, and in denying, giving strong reasons why she was reassigned or why her seat was reassigned. So this is the reason again why it is important for the Senate to conduct a proper, not a kangaroo,
very thorough,
investigation into this to actually get to the bottom of it. I think in your last question, you suggested also that this is not the first time, which is a fact. And if this were a first accusation, you could say, well, the Senate is probably thinking, there's nothing to it. But since this is not the first time that the Senate president, and it's not the only senator, has been accused of, this type of thing, I think even it's the more reason why a proper ethics investigation is very much warranted. And the Senate, if they want to demonstrate that they can do many things at the same time, there is nothing stopping them after conducting the ethics investigation in Senator Natasha not following the rules, should also be conducting in parallel an investigation into those allegations. Very, very quickly before I wrap up on this question. The various arms of government in Nigeria, they seem to thrive very much on technicalities. So in other words, if there are allegations out there in social media, but that may not have been properly filed, in their own minds, it doesn't exist. But those things eventually will undermine the credibility of that institution. So I'm calling on the Senate not to play on technicalities. It's almost like saying somebody disappeared, nobody was found, but nobody is reporting anybody missing. So we're just going to pretend that there is no death. But we all know that, So the Senate needs to really do justice to this. There needs to be a proper ethics investigation, and that investigation cannot be led by the accused.
Thank you, Shukwa. Because of our time, we have to move very quickly. Very quickly. Senator Natasha has now been suspended from the Senate, by a Senate that is led by the man she has accused sexually harassing her. Now, our salaries have been suspended for the next 6 months. Our escorts removed. The salaries of our aides removed. And do you not think this is harassment itself?
That is any further harassment from that. That is what they want. All what they wanted was, okay, let's cage her so she doesn't talk. So she will now, you see, there is a clause here, or else she come and apologize before they can be removed, it can be lifted. The suspension can be lifted. I said, look at these people.
This is not a kind of prosecution. This is not prosecuted. She's been prosecuted here.
Yes, she's been prosecuted. Yeah, she's been prosecuted. She's been dazed with a series of allegations. I mean, series of to cower that, to calm her down, to not to let her raise her voice again.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying in essence is we should just
make sure that she plays ball. They want her to play ball.
Yeah, we want her to play ball because of she said she was placed in a committee, that the committee at the end of the year it return all the money to them or so, something like that. She was saying it, that they don't do that. She said, no, that is how I want to do my own. But why should you place her in a juicy committee, then you remove her? You wanted something from her. That was why you did that. Right? And when she doesn't give you the stuff you wanted, then you are just using it as a bait. And a lot of them who doesn't want to go against them, they don't want their membership, the committee membership, to be removed from them. Right? So it's all a pent-up anger. I just wish people should know, they should realize, the senators in Nigeria, the rep, they should realize how the incalculable damages they are doing to the psychic of the common people in Nigeria, and not in Nigeria, the whole Nigerians in the whole world. That your senator, your senior president is harassing a lady. Now you know what it is. I saw it here on ABC, the local news, the Ajaokuta, all this one. I was looking at the ABC of New Jersey. I said, no. This is, so we should do something. By now, I expected the spokesperson for the Senate to come out to explain to the whole country, right? Mr. President should intervene. It's a smart on the government in Nigeria that the Senate president is harassing a lady because she refused her sexual advances. It's wrong.
Thank you, Lighton. We are spent. Our time is far gone. So just in 1 minute, I just want us to wrap everything up, and I want us to wrap it up on a very hilarious note. So in the last few days, we saw Senator Natasha come to the Senate with her husband. They were kissing each other and the Senate, and then the second day, Senator Akpabio too came with his wife and they were kissing each other. Is this what we are now down to? When we are in a country where there's a problem, there's a high cost of living, there are so many problems, and we are expecting our Senate to solve this problem. But this is what is coming out of our Senate. Is this what we are? Shupo? Just 1 minute, please.
Unfortunately, that is what we are. A nation bereft of true leadership, of true visionary, transformational leadership. This is what happens when you put people in power that are not disciplined, that don't have the capacity to deal with very difficult situations, or who themselves may be corrupt, and that's what they bring. You can't give what you don't have. This is unfortunately what happens in a society where there is no true transformational and visionary leadership.
Thank you. Lighton, your response in just 1 minute, please.
Yeah, I like your observation. I like that, your observation. It goes a long way to tell you the unseriousness on the part of our leaders in Nigeria. What is that a part of legislation? Is that a part of legislation? No, because I don't know. Why should you bring your wife? The other time, he once said he had 15 wives. He brought them to the chamber, to the Alo chamber. Well, yeah, from the north. He said they should not do family planning, they should not do this. So that goes a long way to tell you that what you don't have, you don't give it.
Mm.
Right? They are bereft of idea, like the boy said.
Thank you.
A lot of things have to be made, they have to be legislated upon. From your constituency, you let them know what is going on. A lot. How you are going to improve the lives of your constituents. How what you are going to
Thank
do
you.
to better the lot of your people. Well, but you are now coming out. They don't even know the essence of being there.
Thank you,
That is the
Lighton.
meaning. They
Thank you.
don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we've come to the end of this conversation. So I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Olalawa in Canada. Thank you so much for coming to today's meeting.
Thank you for having me.
And Mr. Olaitandedigba in New Jersey, in America, in Trump's country. Thank you so much for coming to today's meeting
It's my
also.
pleasure. Always my
To all
pleasure.
our viewers, we want to say thank you again for viewing. And next Wednesday, we are going to come, up with another video. We are going to talk about El Rufai and Peter Obi, coming together in same ticket for 2027. So please, if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that button now so that when we post that video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. So until we see you then, God bless you. Goodbye.